Welcome to the 3Haunted podcast, where we bring you all things horror, supernatural, folklore, mythology, and all things that go bump in the night.
What's up, everybody? This is your co-host, Ashley Lunar Goddess, Gorilla Girl filmmaker and horror-loving cinephile. I'm just your average podcast-producing badass.
And I'm John Thomas. If it's haunted, cursed, or just plain weird, I'm into it. From paranormal encounters to horror movie deep dives, urban legends, count me in.
I'm BJ Sewura, an aspiring paranormal musician who plays live for the dead because the living just doesn't want to hear me.
What's up, ghouls, gals, and all of our horror pals out there? Today's episode is brought to you by the letter S. In this episode, we'll sit in silence with some satanic hispanics, shine on with the supernatural, and we're checking for stigmata. So grab some silver bullets and step into the shadows with our special returning guest and newfound horror lover, Nazeeh Tarsha. Welcome back, Nazeeh.
Yo, 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 what is up, everybody?
Or should I say Samara?
Samara, Sadako, whatever you want.
All right. Well, here we are. Very exciting. We're going very Sesame Street here, and your horror education is now being brought to you by specific letters, just because why the fuck not? So, the letter S.
The letter S. Turns out there's a lot of movies with the letter S.
Yeah, a lot of iconic horror movies that begin with the letter S. Who would have thought it? S is for satanic. So we had a list, and it was ever evolving, ever growing as we started, I think, with only 4 films, and then it grew to 6. And again, like you said, there are so many more. This was just a little bit of the iceberg there, a little tip of the iceberg. So we had Silence of the Lambs, Silver Bullet, Stigmata, The Shining, Suspiria, and Satanic Hispanics. So,
Woo!
I definitely don't want to start with the favorites first because I know we're going to go way in on those. So, we're going to go with your least favorite. Out of all the films that we had, which was, it was fine, but probably wouldn't go for it again.
That would be your boy Stigmata.
What?
Get out now.
Get the
it was
fuck
nice
out.
knowing you, but like,
Wow.
deal breaker.
Wow.
Deal breaker. For anyone watching, I would like to refer to the previous episode that we did, in which I have discovered that I am not truly in love with religious themed movies per se. I much prefer kind of I don't know, monster creature, maybe Art Deco in a way. But yeah, the religious stuff, it turns out to be lower on my list. And I am just seeing a room filled with people right now that you know,
judging you harshly.
And that's completely fine because, you know, these are just my opinions and they can be wrong. It's okay.
We can get into it. I mean, I actually have a confession to make, and I made this confession earlier that I have never seen this movie. This was the first time call myself a horror, fan, and I really haven't seen this movie until, we started this. And so for me, like, it was the first time, and I loved it, but I love like most horror stuff, and this kind of stuff gets to me because I love the stigmata, just the supernatural side of it and the religious side of it, but I get why people don't. But what is it specifically about the religious side that you were just like, nah, this isn't for me?
It's not even necessarily the topic of religion. It's, I think, I feel like I'm watching very, very similar things over and over whenever I see a religious themed movie of this sort of nature, where it's just like the pondering of of belief itself, and those within the the church having that sort of like that fight between I think my own faith is lost, and here is another person whose faith, it's like it feels like I'm watching like similar flavors throughout my limited viewings.
When this movie came out, I do feel that it was very different than all of the other religious movies that have been put forth in the horror genre. And I still stand by that. Stigmata is still very different than the other religious horror that exists for quite a few reasons, if you'll go on a trip with me.
I'm always in the back seat willing to go.
All right. Well, friend.
Well, foe now.
No, and I agree to an extent. We see similar threads, but not quite, because in The Exorcist, we have Reagan, who inherently they're not a religious family, and she gets possessed, right? Because she's playing with this Ouija board. But one can argue that the spirit board, it doesn't care if you believe in God, you're opening yourself. So whatever comes a knocking is gonna come on in. With this one, I really appreciated, one, can we just appreciate Patricia Arquette? She is a
Yes.
phenomenal actress with an iconic voice, an iconic scream. That is a scream you can hear anywhere and know exactly who it belongs to. Like, you want to talk about a scream queen? That's a scream queen. But you've got this person, this young adult who in her mid, whatever she is, 20s, late 20s, she's living her life. She's dancing, she's partying, she's having fun. And the purpose of this movie, I don't believe, was to be like, shame on you, this is what you get. I think that this was just this idea of almost like, is it happenstance or is it fate? Because realistically, the only reason that we are given that she would receive the stigmata is because she was given the rosary of the priest who actually was having stigmata because of his devout faith and what he believed in. And with her, it's like, I don't even have to believe for this stuff to impact me, which again, I think goes to this idea that you don't have to be religious for the spiritual world to affect you. And I love how they paired her with Gabriel Byrne, and they had like this tension between them, but it wasn't like a sexual tension. I mean, to an extent, it maybe kind of was, but it was more so this like heart connection that was going on. And it was implied to be romantic, right? He definitely cared about her a bit more than he probably should or would have. And she definitely had like a draw to him. So I do feel this movie was different in so many ways because it was also not one of those like, hey, have faith, believe in God. To me, it was one of the first horror movies that approached religion in an empowering way, because ultimately what it all boiled down to is what the father had found, right? He found the lost
Right.
gospels of Jesus, and the fact that the church would do anything to keep that shit quiet. Why? Because wherever, God's inside you, like, that's all you need is what's inside of you.
Mhm.
I'm not a super religious person, but this idea that like, because you want to take a step to the metaphysical for a moment, that's what the metaphysical world believes. Not that God is inside of you, but that the universe is inside of you, source is inside of you, and that everything you have you need inside of you. So translate that right into the religious language, and it's saying the same thing in this movie. And I don't know, I was down with that idea that like, you don't need this other shit external to you, it's all inside of you, and that's all you need.
And I love that too. Like the quote, "The kingdom of God is inside you and all around you, not in buildings of wood or stone," right? Like and they even talked about that, like what she was saying, and what they translated is, and he was like, "Oh, that's beautiful." He's like, "You don't, if there's a wood, like you split it, I'm there, and you lift that stone, you can find me," right? Like it's great. Like I think that was great. I think that was especially for somebody who is a non-believer, right? She didn't have anything. She really didn't. She was an atheist at that point, right? Like So for that to happen to her, that was also part of it too. Is like, yeah, this doesn't happen to people who are non-believers, is what he says in the film. And that's part of it, right? Like, she's a hairdresser, she doesn't believe in God, she's not trying to kill herself or anything, right? Like, she one of the, like, I like the quotes in this movie. One of the my favorite quotes was, um what did she say? She was like, "I love being me. Ask anyone." Like, she was happy. She was okay. Like, she was good. But when this stuff starts happening, there, it was great. It was great to see that progression of just, is she like experiencing this? Is this real, first of all? And then what does it all mean? And I love that the priest is a scientist, right? Like, he started out as a scientist, and then he moved on to, he's like, there's more to this world than just the elements, right? And that's what as a, I think he was he a chemist or I'm not sure what his specific job
I think
was.
I think it was organic chemistry.
Organic chemistry, yeah,
I
exactly.
think I could be wrong, but yeah.
No, I think you're right. I think you're right. But just going that route and connecting with Patricia on that, like, that was kind of their way to connect, right? Like, he was like, well, this is how it started, and this is where it's going, and this is why I'm different from the others, and this is why this works. And I love that about this movie.
I just feel like this movie was highly symbolic of just the metaphysical world in general. You don't have to be this devout Catholic. You don't have to be a saint to experience stigmata, right? You don't have to be this holy divine creature to have gifts. And some people view it as gifts, like the saints that experience stigmata. It's like, this is a blessing, right? It's painful as fuck, but this is a blessing. Whereas someone like her, it's like, this is a curse. And I feel like that translates a lot to people that, take dogma out of it. People in the metaphysical world kind of experience that too. You don't have to be this positive, holy, transcended, love and light person to have gifts, and they don't always feel like gifts, right? It's, to some people, it feels like a curse. So, I really felt like, stripping aside the Catholicism in the movie, there was a lot of meat in this that translates beyond religion, beyond like that dogma, and was also kind of empowering, like I said, where it's like, you don't need the church, you don't need to put a name on it, it's inside of you. So I don't know, I thought that was very different than other religious films, because I feel like other religious films are very black and white, good versus evil, and we got to defeat the devil, and here's this horrific stuff. And in this movie, the like horrific stuff is the stigmata, right? Like, the whipping is such a cool scene, but also awful when she's in the subway and she reaches across to grab the handles, and suddenly she's being whipped, and we hear her iconic scream, and it's like, oh my god, what is happening?
Absolutely. And for me, like, because I just watched it for the first time, you could really see the 90s, right? Like, uh like, the big thing that stuck out, there's a few things, but like, the outfits, the big foam blue sandals that she's wearing, right, as she's walking with the blood going down them, right? It's like, it doesn't fit, but it fits, like, it's perfect, right? And then the blow up couches, right? Like, all of that, like, it's like, oh, or blow up chairs. I was like, I want to sit in one of those. It's like, it makes you like reminisce, but also like, it gives it some kind of almost truth, and like, it's like real. Like, this is a time, this is what it was like. This is the things that people were wearing, her big giant ring, green ring. There was a lot of like colors, right? It was like a plastic ring, that kind of stuff. But it was great. I loved it. I love that despite the fashion and all of that, it was um you could ignore that, and it would still like hit hard, right? Like, it's not just something that they didn't focus on any of that. It was window dressing for a time, um and it made it feel more real to me. I don't know.
The cinematography was beautiful. The scene in her apartment where the water is dripping on her face and she's parched and you could almost see the old man within her. Like the
Yeah.
fucking beautiful scenes. And like the subway whipping scene, as weird as that sounds, the way that was shot, the contrast and like the flashing of the lights, it's like, God damn, pun intended. Like this is a phenomenally shot movie. Like, I don't know. I thought it was beautiful. I thought the message was, if you can strip away the in your face Catholicism, was really beautiful. So
Yeah, no, and I do want to say, like, I don't think it's a bad movie by any means. Like, let me. I feel like I have to, like, 1 second, because number one, you gave me a list of like a lot of phenomenal movies. It's not as though there's anything here that's like bad by any stretch of the imagination. But
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
You
know
don't
if I agree with
know.
that one, but
I can't believe you put this one below another one. But yeah.
I want to hear which one you think is lower when we get to that.
Oh, you will.
Yeah. One of the things that I especially noted, and also a reminder, this is through the lens of a 32-year-old who has never grown up with any of this stuff, experiencing it. And there, one of the things that I personally took extra note of this time around through all the watches were the sound designs. The sound designs and the soundtracks were an insane part of everything. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, it is a critical part of any sort of movie, obviously, because for the most part, sound is put to drive mood and help, like, make you feel certain feelings or lack thereof. But with this movie, kind of going on what you were saying, BJ, the soundtrack was very, very also like 90s. Like, you felt the era, you felt that sort of like grungy kind of like, like kind of visceral. I don't know how to describe it other than like I would say what neo metal grunge kind of just in your face, like it definitely added to the movie. And but there was a couple of things that did irk me, but I mean, it did its part. Was whenever they do like little screechy stuff, I put that akin to like if you're watching like Hell's Kitchen or like Kitchen Nightmares or like Bar Rescue or whatever, and whenever they cut the commercial and there's like like that kind of like harsh thing. There were a couple of times where I noticed that and I'm like, I hate the sound effects so much. It wasn't exactly that, but it's like, no, it's doing its part. But yeah, no, the sound design was fantastic, and everything about the movie is great. The acting is really well done. Like you said, like Patricia is absolutely phenomenal in every single scene and every minute. I forgot the father's name. The tattle ass bitch is what I'll call him.
The tattle ass bitch.
He looked exactly like his role, like a tattle ass bitch. I was just like, this. What are you doing here, buddy? Like, how dare you? How fucking dare you? Mind your own business.
The tattle ass bitch.
Like, because I'm sitting here thinking
about
that
Father
like
Dario.
Probably, because it was just like I don't know. Like, while I was watching that, unfold. I was kind of hoping that there was like some sort of ulterior motive beyond just being like, just a little weasel, like I was like, oh, there's a hierarchy and you're trying to climb up, or there's like something, or like you are the main dude's pet, and it's like, no, you just there were no brownie points. There's nothing. You're just a tattle ass bitch. Like, what the hell? Like, fuck you, man. But yeah, no, it was really good. There was a thing that I was going to mention. Oh yeah, the very, very ending, or near that. At that very end, when he's at the bedside, being like, "Hey, like, put this burden on me, leave her out of this, and transpose the stigmata and like all the bearings and everything."
When he's like, "Use me."
Yeah, use me. I thought it was really, I thought it was interesting because he was just like, "Let me be your messenger," and then the response being, "A messenger believes you have only doubt." I thought that was kind of like, I mean, it fits with the theme of everything that was mentioned, and it's one of the main themes of this, where it doesn't matter if you are in the church or not, you can have wavering faith, especially given the world around you and everything that happens. But I thought it was kind of funny that was happening, that was said after Father Andrew is like literally in this room that's like blowing the fuck up, everything's going on fire, everything's going to hell. It's just like, brother, I think I believe right now. Like, how about you just come over here, man?
He had to be willing to walk through the fire.
Yeah. It is one of those where I kind of expected for oh my god, why am I forgetting names are so hard for me, y'all. Patricia's character. Yes. I kind of expected her to actually just like kind of die and the final step be happened and everything like occur. Mm-hmm. But I was like, okay, nice. Expectations subverted. I mean, granted, I had like a bleaker thing where I thought the messaging was going to end up being that like, yeah, like this sucks.
So you didn't watch the alternate ending?
That's not what I always had.
I was going to bring that up.
Neither did I.
Yeah, that's apparently a DVD only thing.
Please enlighten us.
So us 90s viewers were aware of an alternate ending, and it was the director's cut. So in the alternate ending, it's almost the same exact thing. He's holding her, and then she gets up to walk away, and she's got the bird, and she looks very ethereal, right? And he's just like, oh, all is well. Well, in the alternate ending, he's holding her, she gets up, ethereal bird, blah, blah, blah. And because you notice that scene feels a little weird, right? She's like glowing and she's got the bird. Well, in the alternate ending, he looks down and she's still in his arms and the final stigmata has taken place. So.
Oh, that would have been a lot better.
Pretty much, right? Her passing on. So really fucked up, right? Because you go through all of that. She went through all of that. And then it's like, yeah, you still get it.
Unfortunate.
Well, I mean, he said, I've only seen, there's only been a record of a couple of them, and you've gone to 4. Like, let's just do it all. Like, I feel like, yeah, at that point, I think that makes more sense, right? To have the final one, right? Because if she's gonna go all the way, or at least that's where they're going with it, right? Instead of having just 2.
I actually don't mind that they took it out, and not because I'm a happy ending kind of gal, but because it wouldn't make sense in my opinion, because the only reason she had the stigmata was because she was being possessed by Alameda, and he was the one who was going through stigmata. So when we see Father Kiernan accept to take on spreading the message, and Alameda is like, okay, bye, adieu, that's a good day, sir, and he's gone, then in theory, the stigmata should go with him.
Right.
Fair enough.
So it almost wouldn't make sense to me, at least, if she did die from that, because it'd be like, wait a minute, does that mean he didn't leave? He was just like trolling them? I don't know.
Right.
There's always room for trolls.
Even priests troll. So as much as like I'm with you, that darker ending kind of would be a little bit more poetic and in theme with everything going on. The idea of what they were saying in terms of why she had the stigmata and then him visually leaving, it's like, well, then did he just decide to kill her anyways? Like, hey, be a saint. I don't know.
Right. I mean, it could also be like, just the timing, right? Like, sorry, just a split second too late.
Set the wheels in motion. They'll be what they be.
Yeah.
Or maybe along the way, because the message was going through her so strongly, she somehow became as much of a believer as him and carried it on. I have no idea.
Right. Which, I mean, I feel like if I was experiencing firsthand the very things that she experienced, I probably would be a believer. I'd be pissed as fuck. Like, what the fuck, dude? Like, I didn't ask her this.
Lucifer,
but
where are you?
Yeah. Come on, man. Like,
I want to talk to you.
what after that movie ended, because my mom, she went to Turkey and like she brought me like a couple of like little things. Like I have like a bracelet, like an evil eye bracelet, and I have like like these like Muslim prayer bead stuff. And I'm looking at them, I'm like, oh no, I need to get rid of these.
How are you feeling? Have you been whipped lately?
I think I'm okay so far. I think the worst has just been indigestion. So,
Oh God,
That's how it starts.
what was your next film? Next least favorite.
So for my next movie, so okay, I want to go ahead and preface this by saying that this list for me is enjoyability in a rewatch. Okay. So it's not just artistic merit and whatnot, but it's like, you know, like if I'm sitting down and I'm looking for like, you know, if it's like every October, you know, every Halloween season and whatnot, I'm looking for a rewatch, what do I want to watch and whatnot. And for me, the movie that let me see, boom, boom, boom. Yeah, I think I would put The Shining next. For me, The Shining is one of those movies where this one, despite what I just said, I definitely have to give it at least one or two more watches, because there is a lot in this. Doesn't mean I'm going to enjoy it. That is purely
Educational.
Purely educational, exactly. But it was one of those things where, you know, similar to a lot of these other movies that I've watched and come on here to discuss, you know, seeing the all of the influence, all of the references, every little thing, and just how much you know, it has kind of, I don't want to say transformed culture and cinema, but in a kind of way, you know, I mean, there is a lot of homage, a lot of reference, and also just in terms of the cinematography, I think there is a lot taken from this as well. I thought the beginning was absolutely like kind of like unnerving and set the tone for the movie with the long ridiculous whining on top of the sort of unnerving soundtrack. Again, soundtrack being a huge thing for this movie, driving a lot of the emotion and whatnot. I thought the performances were great. However, for Nicholson, it was funny because I didn't look up to see if this had twin movie syndrome, because this reminded me very similarly of Amityville. Just the, you know, sort of house structure on top of an Indian burial ground, the sort of transformative element of the father figure going on to, you know, killing everyone, or attempting to rather, and kind of seeing the spirits that lie within. So I do wonder if if there was an element of twin movie syndrome in there, if they were like released like a year after each other or something like that. But you know, Jack's character, straight out the gate, rather than being this sort of liked family man from the get-go, we immediately already like see Jack Nicholson with his like crazy ass eyes and giving this unnerving, just like, you're just a shitty father and a shitty human being. And obviously, you know, the dialogue already lends itself to that, like in the interview, where it's just like, oh, how would your wife and kid feel about this? And he's just like, they'll be fine. Like, not even a second thought, like, fuck them, who cares? And yeah, like the intention of setting him already to be a sort of like deplorable person, and then not necessarily having a night day transformation, but more like night later night transformation, where it's just like he already possessed a sort of like evil in him, and it just further manifested throughout the stay here, rather than being this like, we see a shift of, you know, like the good father, the caring husband who all of a sudden becomes slowly manic over time and reprehensible and whatnot. It's just like, no, we see a person who already is kind of, you know, a little evil, just to put it generically. And yeah, the ambiance, the soundtrack, phenomenal. I thought that while the performances were good, again, I it took me a little bit to settle into Jack Nicholson specifically, because it felt like he was just a little too like crazy. He felt more natural performing when he was crazier, if that makes any sense. His line deliveries and his reads and everything just felt more grounded than in the beginning, where it was this sort of like constant, like, it felt days like in a way. But yeah, no, I did like the film. I thought there was a lot to chew. Also, the layout of the hotel felt ridiculous. Also, it's like this sort of like, it felt like, this labyrinth that kind of shifted in a way. Like, and I know, like, I ended up like watching a couple of things regarding this movie, where it was like, yeah, like some of the layouts, if you were to like actually draw it on paper, like it doesn't make sense. They go through one thing, they go through another, and sometimes there is no continuity in terms of like, oh, they just came out and they're in the same place necessarily. But I did think, like, that was obviously, or not obvious, but I think that was purposeful, and did kind of give this sort of increased unnervingness to just the very hotel that they were staying at.
Well, not just the hotel, but fun fact, the scene where Jack chases his son through the hedges, I guess it took a month to shoot because crew members just kept getting lost. And so they had to use like walkie-talkies to get through it. So there was a lot of that going on. It wasn't just like in the building, but also in the maze as well.
I think the continuity, honestly, to your point, and I don't think it's a continuity issue because continuity would imply that they were messing up the actual, script continuity of the location. I think really it's just a physical representation of the spiraling of Jack's character. So the more he spirals into his madness or possession or whatever you want to call it, the more we're seeing the hotel also latch onto that, right? The hotel itself is embodying his madness. And as it increases, we see the hotel also get a little more wacky and like the maze outside. And so it goes, metaphorically speaking, symbolically speaking, the hotel goes crazy from the inside out into the maze, just like Jack. And to your point, him being nutty from the beginning and kind of apathetic to his family and everything makes him prime for, the residue of the hotel to really pick up on and claim him as another, attendee, a patron of the hotel. So I don't know. Definitely not my favorite horror movie. It's a slow burn kind of film, one that I just don't always connect to. So it's not one that I know you talked about rewatchability, and it's not one that I gravitate to. It doesn't keep me quite entertained. There are some iconic scenes for sure, but it's just not one of my favorites. But I do think, in terms of artistic, it definitely has a lot of layers to it. Did Kubrick go insane making this movie? Like, one might say he's a Jack himself.
Sure, yeah. I will say, like, it's very famous, just the amount of torture that Kubrick put the actors through, especially Shelley. And I think that nothing in this movie merits any of that shit at all, and that pissed me off. Like, it was like one of those like tidbits where it's just like, yeah, like, what the fuck, dude. There is like literally zero reason to put anyone through that amount of like reprehensible torture, even in the name of like art. It's just for any first time listeners, I'm an actor, and that was just like, it was infuriating, because I know that this changed her for the worse. This is not I don't think any amount of accolades, artistic merit, anything whatsoever is worth altering the course of a human being's livelihood and psyche and trajectory and everything. And I will say, like, I'm not a fan of knowing that, not even just knowing, but like the fact that it happened.
Yeah, but definitely it's a interesting location, and what they did playing with the hallways and the visuals in just the snowstorms outside. I don't know. I thought that my favorite part of this entire movie is actually the end. Why? Because it was over. No, I'm kidding. Just joking. The end is my,
Damn.
I know that was brutal. Actually, the end is my favorite part because the last shot is a photograph in the hotel of the party, and it's the crowd, and you see Jack standing there. And to me, that was haunting and fun because it's like the hotel absorbed him. It finally made it one of them, because it wasn't let's take over Jack. It's let's consume Jack and make Jack one of us, to increase that residue, right? Of
Right.
whatever is the hotel, the overlook. So I don't know. That was my favorite part. And because it was over.
I agree that it was definitely a slow burn and not one that I watched, a whole lot, but I do watch it every once in a while. One of my favorite shots was when they're driving up to the hotel. I love the mountains, and it kind of reminds me, like BJ said, we're from Colorado, driving up to the actual Stanley Hotel where it was, based off of. It just makes me think of that whole scene right there. So it's kind of cool.
Well, that and the actual Stanley Hotel is haunted.
Yeah.
It's not just a movie, right? Like, we have had a guest or two on that have talked about it, and it's there's more stories to tell that aren't in that movie.
Yeah.
So,
And they tried to add a maze in the front finally. Unfortunately, it's like a tiny one, but they're trying.
Now, I will say to what you said about the twin movie, I
Yeah.
don't disagree with you, because there are two scenes within each movie that the father hacking through the door and the mom trying to protect the kid, or in
Mhm,
Amityville,
mhm.
the kids, is very, very similar. You're
Yes.
half expecting DeFeo to like peek through the door and be like, "Here's Johnny," and they were similar, and one has to wonder which came first. I know Stephen King wrote The Shining prior to, I think it was like 1977, and he had to have started writing that before that. That's just when it came out.
Right.
Amityville Horror came out in 1980, and I'm pretty sure even though the killings happened prior to that, there was nothing about like an axe coming through the door. So not something that Stephen could be like, "Oh yeah, let me take that and put that in my book." But again, they were so close in timeline that it's like, what are the odds that you have something so similar in either one? Were they like both, visited by this like horror muse in their sleep? And it's like, let me put the scene in your head. Let me put the scene in your head. Who picks it up
Mhm.
first? And they both picked it up.
Yeah. No, there were, it's and a lot of similarities to be had, and I couldn't help but like just think about the other while parts of this progressed, and just kind of wondering like, oh yeah, like here are like these little similarities. One thing I did want to mention is I do like because it really is just chock full of so much like symbolism and things that are so easy to miss, and also just interpretations that I think a lot of people can argue / probably have been arguing, not even probably, I know that they have been arguing for decades. This is a very, very constantly discussed film. There's a lot that I need to like, it's like thinking through the movie. There's again, there's just like so many little things that you can pick out to talk about. It was a good movie, but not necessarily one that I yearn to watch out of enjoyment. But like from an academic standpoint, I think there's a lot.
If I'm writing an essay, I'm gonna write one about The Shining. So, is there a movie that you like that we chose here?
Oh, I liked all of them. Again, I'm basing this off of rewatchability. I have an appreciation for all of them, and I do like I said, like the artistic mind likes all of these things. And like one that wasn't listed that I still watched anyway was also Suspiria, which I would put toward this bottom half of the list because again, it's just
It was put back on the list.
Oh, it was put back. Oh, okay, great.
I honestly can't believe Suspiria ranks above any of those films.
I wonder if Suspiria, if the only reason, if you had switched the soundtrack off of Suspiria, if I would rated it lower, because the soundtrack to that one, I think, lured me in from the very beginning. But yeah, I would put Suspiria next after that, in terms of my viewing. I thought it was a good and interesting film, and made a lot of like artistic choice that we don't necessarily see in American cinema. You know, this felt very like Euro horror. It felt very much like the product of something that you would see just someone not American making. Like it kind of felt akin to like me watching to like an Andrei Tarkovsky film or something like that, where it was just like, this is just very, very stylistically different. The shots are different, the setting and the scenery extravagant, the ballet school. I thought the acting was, I think I'm a little more forgiving on the acting because of the time frame. I don't necessarily think a lot of the actors were like strong, but just again, something about this film, it kept me in a sort of alluring suspense, where I kind of just sat here wanting to know what the next, like come on, like what just fuck, what's happening, what is at play here. I don't like how rushed the ending ended up kind of just feeling. I will say, I think that the pacing suffers a little bit, and choices could have been made to kind of like make the discovery of the coven and the witches, and then taking out the sort of like, you know, the main witch herself, and then like the place exploding. It was kind of like, oh, this felt very, very, very rushed. But you know, I think the sort of like in the beginning where, you know, Iris and Secret mention, and it keeping us like sort of in the back of the mind going throughout, and me wanting to know like, okay, what's that? Different characters being introduced that makes you wonder whether they're friend or foe, whether like, you know, who is out to get the main character? Is there anyone out to get the main character? Because, you know, since it's a ballet school, you know, who is in on this is, you know, obviously we find out ultimately it is like the headmasters and the faculty, the coven, and the students are all just victims to kind of feed the power of the matriarch. But you know, in the beginning, it was this sort of like, okay, who is friend, who is foe, and yeah, I weirdly enough, I actually I like this film more than I thought I would. But again, not necessarily one that I would go out of my way to rewatch. I still found it to be a little too much in terms of that soundtrack. While I do love the bells and the sort of like mysterious ethereal music that like underlaid it, there were times where I felt that it just overstayed its welcome. And again, the pacing I think suffers more so toward like the middle end, where the discoveries are being made a little quickly, and then the resolution just kind of happening out of nowhere. Yeah. I thought Suspiria, like I understand why this film ranks as like a cult classic, and you know, I in retrospect, I saw like, you know, it wasn't necessarily as like acclaimed when it came out, but this is like sort of a retrospective of like, actually this isn't a bad film, and here's why. And yeah, I sort of had like an appreciation for it.
To be honest, I actually like the remake more than the original. The way the thing that they did with it, with the story, was much different than the original. So the American, right? Like in the original, they had a good witch thing going. The American comes in, kind of ruins it all. like it's kind of a similar story, but it's a different, I would say, execution. And because of that, I think the newer one, for me, it is better in a lot of ways because it adds a lot of absurdity that you're just like, oh my god, they're just going to the limit with it. And Dakota Johnson, she is the main character in the new one, or in the remake, and she did all of the dancing and all her own stunts and everything in that one. And I think for people who don't like the original, I think the remake is actually, I feel like they looked at the original and they're like, this is where we can take it to the extreme and make it not, I don't know about better, but different, more enjoyable. Like one of those, like you said, it's like one of those that you could rewatch. But the original, obviously, the lighting, the music, there's some different things that they've done in that movie that weren't done before, and the fact that was groundbreaking in a way in that time. um it was good. I mean, the dubbing, we talked about it before we started the podcast. That was kind of harsh, but also, at the time, it wasn't something that was refined and done well, maybe, until now, I guess. Um, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot to enjoy in that film. But I would say if you didn't enjoy the film, but you enjoy the concept of it, the ballet, the witches, like I would definitely take the 2018 version and just give it a watch, because I will say personally that I enjoyed that one a lot more, and I think it's something that if anybody likes that kind of thing, that they would enjoy.
I'm not a fan of it, I'm gonna be
I
honest.
agree.
No, that's fair.
I mean, for the setting to be at a dance school and, you've got this fish out of water, she's from America coming to this dance school, there really wasn't much dance. I think there was one scene where there was dance and she kind of like haphazarded something and passed out. And I do feel that the movie suffered quite a bit from sound design and rushed moments that it could have been pulled back in other areas where they emphasize such a long time on a scene, right? That's just like this could have been quicker. And then scenes that really could have taken longer, could have benefited from an extended take, didn't. And so I feel like the pacing never found itself. Even at the beginning, they keep referencing, they go back to what the girl said when she was talking about turn the blue iris. And in that first scene, if you watch it, you can't hear anything. The storm is so loud and she kind of runs out, runs into her, and takes off. And then everything built on that. Well, she said this to me, and suddenly she's zoned in on her mouth and she hears her. It's like, did we watch the same beginning scene? Because I don't think any of that could have taken place in that establishing shot. I don't. But also, we're again suffering from the sound design. Like, if we couldn't hear her and it was a quick rush off in the rain, how did this girl hear her? And like it was so slow and looking at her mouth. Well, and she was saying to me, like, did she? Are we sure? I don't know. There were scenes I feel like just really weren't necessary. Were they fun? Sure. Did they propel the story? I don't think so. Um, I understood why it was included, but I think it was almost a waste of running time because other things could have been focused on. More of the impact of how she's being, I'm assuming, drugged. They can't, like, her roommate can't even wake her up, right? She's telling her about the witches and, like, please just wake up, just read these notes. And she just can't even get it together and passes back out. So something's happening to her, right? But we don't get enough of that to really understand, is this like hypnosis because of the witchcraft? Are they drugging her? Is it in her food? I don't know, because we're rushing through that stuff. But instead, we're going to focus on this really grotesque extended scene where the school's pianist, dog eventually like turns on him and rips him up. Are the effects cool? Sure. But again, was that necessary? Or could we have used those effects somewhere else against, the stuff actually happening, the horror within the school? I do feel this idea of a coven, like on paper, this movie's fucking phenomenal. You have a fish out of water. American comes to this other country. She's out of place. She's at this dance school. Does, like you said, Nazeeh, doesn't know who's friend or foe, and finds out over time that there's a coven running the school and it's picking off the students and it needs them to continue their life. Like, in theory, that sounds amazing, but I'm not quite sure that's what I watched. We don't really get the witches until the end. We don't really get, this is our plan for the students and what we're doing until the end.
No, you're right. Like, I think the big thing that they fixed in the remake is they did add more. The dance scenes matter. The dance scenes actually matter, and they're good. Like, Dakota Johnson did a very good job in that film. And the actual witches, like, there's a lot more to it, and it doesn't just end. It felt like it was abrupt in the original, and then in this newer one, there's more to it that it takes a different turn. It takes a different turn that I think you guys will enjoy. I can't give it away to you because it is one of those that you're just like, wow, okay, this is actually, this is cool. This is different. This isn't the original. And I think that's why I appreciate the newer one than this one for sure.
I feel like I'd have to wait at least a year to try to watch the remake because trying to get through the first 5 minutes of the original, I was like, what the fuck am I into? But yeah, it was rough. So give me a year and we'll talk about it. But yeah.
Now, if you want a good horror movie centered around ballet and killings, I got a little fun campy nugget for you. And it's starring Robert Englund. It's called Dance Macabre.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, that takes place. Where does that even take place? It's somewhere overseas. I don't know, near St. Petersburg. You have dance, you have ballet, you have Robert Englund. What more could you want?
I'll put it on the list.
You have killings, fun campiness. Suspiria, I understand. It's, iconic now. I understand it's part of the horror canon now. And I can totally appreciate that. But like you said, Nazeeh, not everybody's flavor. Every movie is going to be received differently. And for this one, it is not my flavor. And rewatching it, I was like, oof, still not my flavor.
This feels like the kind of film where like an introductory film analysis student like comes in and like has like, I actually have a refined palette when it comes to film. And this feels like this would be like on that list, like right next to like Andrei Tarkovsky's like Stalker. It's like, okay, cool, we get it. You fucking watched a couple of films that most people haven't seen. Congratulations. But there are a lot of the movies that I have consumed has been foreign media, in particular, whether it's Tarkovsky, or there's a lot of Korean and Japanese as well, given my career. But yeah, I feel like there's like this level of endearment that Suspiria has for me when I look at it through that kind of lens, that, like I said, some days I don't care about that lens, but then there are other days where I'm like, no, you know what, I like this movie. But yeah, no, it absolutely suffers from so much, but overall not bad.
I'm just going to say one controversial thing.
Oh,
I think film students and horror lovers alike watch Suspiria and appreciate Suspiria and swear by Suspiria because somebody told them this is a classic. This is iconic. I think that if you took someone who is new to horror and you didn't tell them Dario Argento and you didn't tell them how this contributed to the canon, and you said, just sit down and watch this, I think maybe it wouldn't be received. I think it's kind of like when people hear classical music and they're like, well, this is Beethoven, this is Mozart, this is whatever, although those are really masters of their art. But like telling people, it's the idea you've been told this is a horror master. You've been told this is a horror classic. So people are like, oh, now I'm going to look for what's great in it versus just like a cold watch. If someone gets this and you haven't been told this is a great, like, how does someone receive it? I don't know.
Agreed. No, I 100% agree with that. I think that is something that I feel that I actually had, when I went to film school, a lot of people were like, we watched a lot of these films and they were like, "Oh yeah, I appreciate all this stuff about it." And and it's not that way, cuz for me, horror is fun. Horror is entertaining, right? Entertainment, I feel like, as long as it has a point, right? I feel like there's a lot of different things that people can take from horror, but like if you're not connecting with the person who's watching it, then you're not doing your job. And some films hit that way where other films don't, right? And for this one, I feel like it doesn't hit that way for a lot of us, for a variety of reasons that we already talked about.
I disagree with just one thing you said. If it doesn't connect with the person that you're making it for, you're not doing your job. Because as a creative, whether you're writing a book or you're writing poetry or you're making music or you're making movies, it is not for other people, it is for you to get your story out. So Dario told his story exactly as he wanted it. I just don't appreciate it. And that's like that could be said about anything. Like, I'm gonna say it, 3 Haunted listeners. Okay. I don't appreciate Taylor Swift. I
Uh-oh.
appreciate that she puts her shit out there and she's a boss bitch. Get it, Taylor. But I don't appreciate the art. But someone does, right? And ultimately, the crafts, like no matter what art form you're in, you're doing it for you to express what story or message you have to tell. If people connect, great. If they don't, that external validation might get you into trouble later because that can lead to depression and other things, right? Because you're looking for that acceptance external to you. So, does he connect with some of us? No. But is that the point? I don't think so. He told his story as he wanted to, and he did exactly what, like, that is his masterpiece that he put out into the world. And I appreciate that for what it is. I just don't like it.
And I think like A24 is a production company that's along those lines. Like they release a lot of films that are very much not for a broad audience. Like this is for Doug in his basement. And that's great. Like I
Yeah, I like Doug.
Doug's
Doug's
a cool
home.
guy, man.
No, damn it,
Like
Doug.
we go bowling, like this is no, you're right though. Like you're 100% correct. Like, and I agree with that. Like if you're passionate and you have a story to tell that fucking story. And there's going to be people that you change their lives because they watch that film, and it's going to create more creation, right? It's a ripple effect. Just because it doesn't hit with us doesn't mean that it's not going to hit with somebody. But like Ashley said, just make it anyway.
Yeah, artists. Fuck those judgy Ashleys out there. You
And
got
John
this.
Thomas's.
Hey, fuck you all.
Yeah. Hey. I will say I do like their use
Yeah.
of color in his scene when she catches the coven and they're drinking the headmistress's blood or whatever, and she's like, "Give me power, we kill her." And then suddenly, as she's drinking the blood, like the lights start flashing like red and blue, and I'm like, "That's fun!" It just turned into like a witch rave. I'd be down.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's a fun little witch rave. All right, what's your next film, Nazeeh?
Satanic Hispanics is the next one on the list. Because that can't be above the other two. But I enjoyed the watch to the point where I'm like, yeah, I could probably put this on in my background and vibe to it while I'm like baking or something. um so yeah, Satanic Hispanics. I completely blind, knew absolutely nothing, did not know that it was an anthology of, kind of like different directors coming in and telling stories while still having like the overarching story be the same. it was very, very fun and in a way tonally whiplashing. So we start off the movie in a it did start off like semi jokey in a way where, you know, you have a like SWAT team come in and them seeing a person on a chair who has like a cuff on them, and every time the hand moves up they like just blast 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 blast, and it's like, okay, I thought this was going to be really serious, but the fact that they're blasting the corpse this much, okay, there's like a hint of comedy that's going to be laid throughout. I didn't like I said, I came in completely blind. I didn't know if this was going to be horror comedy, etc. But having these first couple stories that were a little more on the sort of serious nature, where you have like the capturing of the main character who is uh escaping some sort of entity that we don't know yet, gets brought into police custody, and him trying to plead for his escape because death is coming for him, and the cops kind of with their like, you know, comedic-ish dialogue kind of being like, oh yeah, like we're gonna do that, buddy, like I don't know. Like I said, there was like little bits of like comedic quips that came through. The first one being the story of the traveler, where, you know, we are told that the character that we have that has been captured, his name is El Viajero. He is known as the traveler, and he is the only person that is currently alive in a room of 27 dead folks. Him going on and telling the following stories, the which are split into chapters. The second chapter being the story of Gustavo, who is this prodigy who's trying to like do like work on a Rubik's cube and enter a competition, making a living, but somehow having opened like a portal unknowingly. Again, it was a fun sort of like intertwining dark but comedic story where you have like this sort of like person who's kind of like plagued and tortured by some things that he's seeing in this house, but doesn't really fully comprehend what is going on. But the manner in which he opens this portal is this sort of comedic phone routine that he has attaching to the Rubik's Cube and the lights on the mosaics and whatnot. Like that one was, I think, a fun story. Probably my least favorite of the rest of them.
Oh my God, that was probably one of my tops.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and like what's awesome is that we've seen Aterados. We've seen where evil lurks. And when I saw the list of directors that were directing the anthology, sections, I knew right away which one Demian Rugna directed. He has such an established style that he has created for himself in cinematography and the way he tells stories with the paranormal and like the spiritual world. And his like first shot of this chapter, También lo vi, I knew it. I'm like, this is Damien's. Like, you just know if you've seen Aterrazos, especially, this looks like just like a chunk, like just a section of that movie got pulled out into this, because not like, oh, this feels redundant, but just the way he lights, the way he chooses to shoot, specific shots, and the tone that his film just inherently carries was so strong in this. Like, for being a guy who has only directed maybe like a handful of, feature-length horror films, he has already established very strongly his voice. And so this one, like I said, first shot, I'm like, this is Damien's. Like, I already knew it. And, I fact checked myself after the movie was over, and like, for sure that was his. But I loved this idea, right? That you have someone, because how many of us can solve like a Rubik's Cube that quickly, who sees life in patterns like that, who is, because I think he's, working on going to a competition when he's talking to his sister about it. And she's like, man, you can win money and then you'll be set for life. And it's this idea that he's able to do it so fast. He sees life differently. He sees life in this algorithm that most of us can't even imagine. And the fact that not only does he do that with a Rubik's Cube, but he applies that in a different way to the external world. And suddenly, holy shit, you opened a portal. And what exactly that portal is. Like, I would love your guys' opinion. What do you think that was? Because it wasn't like he let someone's mom in. It wasn't like he let his dad in. Each person that is seeing the opening to that portal is seeing something different, but they're looking at the same portal. So, like, what the hell was that he opened?
For me, I don't know how to describe it, because like the general answer that I want to give is a portal to death. But the thing with saying that is like I think it just differs per person who experiences it, because you have the person, like, death takes the form of the paranormal investigator seeing his mother, while you look at Gustavo, that was his name, yes, Gustavo, uh he is viewing what I end up finding out is the death of himself. uh and it's like, it's like the symbolism of it being like a portal of death, and the afterlife, but in what manner is it, because like it's in a way it also feels like time bending in a way, not just like a straightforward like, yep, the dead are able to come through, you're able to witness it, and etc. Because it's like he's sitting there texting his sister, while she's like, dude, what the fuck, like, this isn't funny, you're like, your mutilated corpse, like, what is this? And he's like, what are you talking about? So it's I don't know how to fully like to put into a one word like what this portal is, because I feel like the very nature of it changes based off of potentially who is experiencing it.
Yeah. I do find it interesting though when the paranormal investigator is hugging and apologizing to the mom, like he had wronged her in some way, and then he goes to send it back, doing the same algorithm, and then the guy explodes, and it's like, what the fuck just happened? Like, that took him with him? Like, I don't know. I don't like, but I liked it. I was here for it. And to me, this is Damien. Right? Like, these are like, especially Aterados. I feel like where evil lurks, like that just is way more straightforward of what's going on. But with like Aterados, this is very much that idea of like, what is the other side? What is death? What exactly are hauntings? And to your point, this overlapping time, like, it just like, I don't even know, but I was here for it. And it was disconcerting. And I liked that they started with it. Not sure I loved where they went next. It felt a bit jolting.
Yes.
When you're doing an anthology, there's not a lot of time. There's not a lot of time to get things across maybe the way you would want to in a feature film or in like a series, like a TV show, right?
I think it was just a different style of what he does. It's a different section of his style, because Aterados was a feature length film. And it very much is in this vein. You can watch that entire movie and still not 100% know what's going on. That's more like abstract paranormal. And I feel like that's what Tambien Lo Vi was. It's just a section, it's a bite of his abstract paranormal. So even if this was created into a feature length film, I think we might leave it still not knowing the full answer, because he is really good at doing that. When Evil Lurks, Where Evil Lurks, When Evil Lurks.
When Evil Lurks.
When Evil Lurks is more straightforward, but I think that was always meant to be more mainstream. It was meant to be in theaters and be more on the nose horror, so that it could be a little bit more consumable across multiple audiences. His other style of film, which is, Tambien Lo Vi and Aterados, is going to have a bit more of a niche audience who can appreciate the abstract nature of the paranormal that he's presenting. And like his Rubik's Cube, it's just he's given us a different algorithm to play with. El Vampiro.
El Vampiro. So this is where the tonal whiplash really decides to just come into this film.
When we first got slapped in the face.
Truly. Like, I was not prepared for this. I enjoyed it. And it was a very, very fun romp. It felt like what we do in the shadows if you were to like condense everything and make a version that has every sort of like joke and funny bit that you want to do and just like jam pack it into like a solid like, let's say 15-25 minute bit, probably closer to the 15. It was fun. I did actually really, really like it. I thought it was just silly. It played on the trope and of just like vampire and oh my god, the sun's about to come up. What do I do? And then having this sort of like semi-comical cliched marriage where he at one point says that he's her master, and then she's like, I'm sorry, the fuck? Know your fucking place. And he it's just a fun comedic romp. There are a lot of like funny little zingers. I don't know how I feel about this being in here, because there's in a way, like, I don't mind, but it's a tonal whiplash. It's like I don't know fully the intention of what it is that I'm watching as a whole. Individually, when you see it as like, if you look at it as like short films and you were to like judge it on that, then it's like, okay, yes, I absolutely see, and obviously we see the meaning of each thing and can judge it based off of its own merit. But the thing is that these are all compiled together, and as a result, having this sort of like back and forth, it ends up kind of creating like, just a little bit of that confusion. But yeah, I mean, I don't have too much to say about El Vampiro other than like it was a fun, solid, like, yeah, this is how I would like to view like a comedic take on vampires.
It didn't take itself too seriously.
No.
I mean, in the first 90 seconds of it, he chases his victim out. A stranger sees them and he's like, I want to suck your blood. And then the guy's just like, fucking Halloween, and like off he goes. And it's, it didn't take itself too seriously. Now, stylistic, it's purely a personal stylistic choice, but I'm with you. There was just a little too much back and forth on the intense and the kind of campy humor. And for me, I'm more of a like let it build gal. I would have preferred if this thing started with the silly and then a little less silly and then the kind of, just go intense until you get to the finale. But that's just me. Some people do like the yo-yo and the roller coaster. I prefer the gradual build. So
with this one, I was one of the ones that did like I enjoyed it.
You like the roller coaster. You like
I liked it. It made me laugh, and I was just I enjoyed it a lot, especially when he's like, I'm sorry I said I was your master.
I enjoyed the chapter. It just felt really disjointing after having just gotten off of watching like the También Lo Vi. I would have preferred this maybe as like one of the first chapters, because this would be a fun way to go into it.
Yeah,
exactly. I agree.
Nahuales.
This one I liked a lot. I think I like the serious ones more than the comedic, but like in the same way, I still rank them in a way where it's like this like comedic, serious, comedic, serious, comedic, serious. For this one, this is just straight up a story that we've seen a variation of time and time again, where what happens when you ask for the aid of whether it be a deity or external forces and whatnot, and when that aid becomes abused, and seeing the sort of ramifications of that, and in this case, being very politically motivated, and resulting in the death and slaughtering of so many people, including his own family, and the sort of betrayal that Madre Tierra has, and comes in and is like, all right, well, it's time to pay the piper, buddy. You kind of abused something, and this ain't it. I thought a lot of the imagery was very, very again, tonally whiplashing coming off of the vampire one, but seeing this on its own and seeing just like the kind of like the mutilation, the drinking of his blood, and the sort of, you know, massacring of the main character of the story. Again, you don't fuck with the elements. You don't fuck with any of nature's cosmic beings, no matter what religion or what region or what country, no matter none of that. Be a good person, and you too will not be sacrificed to the one who helped you.
Yeah, you know what I love most about this? This is rooted, I mean, so this entire film, Satanic Hispanics, is, you know, is created by Latin filmmakers, and they're each bringing their own flair to the horror genre. But what I love specifically about the Nahuales chapter is that Nahuales are actual mythological creatures. And so you've got urban legend and mythical lore being applied into the horror world, but not in a way that villainizes them, right? You think they're villains at first, and then you learn what's actually happening, and you're like, dang, they're not the bad guy. They're just really angry. That's what happens when you anger the gods. You're angered Mother Nature, Madre Tierra. But like the Nahuales are actually shapeshifters. And so these are shapeshifters, and it's not just one like background that it comes from. It's Mesoamerican, it's the Mayan cultures, it's the Oaxacan culture. And I mean, you know, you've got this like, I don't want to say mythical, but you've got this creature from lore that is not inherently bad. And so I do love like what we see, but we also see that as much as she's angry, because nobody angers Mother Earth, she also has a soft side to her, right? She goes to the safe house and they open up the wall and you find that his family is in there wrapped up. And it's like, did he do that? Did he shoot his own family? And that's like his way of trying to get out to the US. Like, well, my family got killed. You don't know. But even then, in that moment, she's sad and she's like such a terrible loss of innocent life, and she's grieving it. And her Nahuales, you know, men that are her servants, I assume, are sad with her. And what is it she tells them? She tells them, you know, we're not really supposed to feel grief. So anytime you feel your Nahuala spirit breaking, just remember the song. And then they all start like chanting their song. And there was just something really beautiful, as fucked up and like intense as that chapter was. There was something really beautiful in that like thread underlying the horror that we saw. And so I don't know, that one, I'm with you. That one was like, oof, just 10 snaps and around the world. Like, it was beautiful.
Yeah, no, I absolutely love that one. And you know, it's sort of kind of touching on what you were saying. You know, not every everything in mythology, folklore, or even necessarily like creature related stuff. It's like this idea of inherent evil versus just the existence of something that becomes crossed. You know, it's like half the time things are perceived as evil solely because of actions taken against them and their retaliation. But it's like it's exactly just that. It's retaliation. So you know, it's like you said, it's absolutely beautiful, and I truly did like. I think of all of them, that one's my favorite of the stories because it was just so deep, and the imagery was beautiful. Like everything about that, I thoroughly loved, and I kind of wish that more of the anthologies, if not like led up to it, had like a similar-ish tonality, just to kind of keep a sort of consistency in that sort of theme.
Just remember, Madre Tierra. Madre Tierra, she giveth, but she'll take it.
She will take it.
She will cut a bitch and drink its blood. So I for sure thought, I don't know about you guys, but when they were like pulling his arms, I for a moment legit thought they were going to like completely take his arms off his body.
Yeah.
And then when it's suddenly like, nah, we're going to slit your throat and drink your blood, I'm like, get him.
Yeah. No. It's one of the few times where you're like, yeah, this guy had it coming. fuck you.
You had it coming. He did this.
Which I love that there is that sort of like subverting expectation, right? Where like it builds him as the good guy in the beginning, and then as you find out about the fucked up things, like it's like, oh yeah, no, you're just a piece of shit. Like, fuck you.
You had this coming, man.
Yeah.
Now, chapter 5, The Hammer of Zanzibar.
My least favorite.
I wish this was not, honestly, in the movie, or I wish it had been earlier on, but maybe it's better it wasn't, because I probably would have just like noped out of the movie. But I did not find it compelling in any way.
Is it like the wooden dildo? Is it the comedy?
Yeah, it's the wooden demon
Okay.
dick that the only thing you can use to kill demons, and like he's gonna kill. It started strong, man. Like that's the thing. It started strong. Him at the table with his ex, and they're going on, and he explains how, like, he catches how he knows she's actually the zombie king. I was here for it. I'm like, okay, tell me more. And then they start like their face off, and they're battling, and I'm like, okay, it's a little campy, but that's fine. We're here. And then it went way fucking left, and we're in an antique shop, and there's this long drawn out homoerotic story on how this guy got a demon's wooden dick, and now that's the only thing he can use to literally beat the zombie king. Like, it just, I was not like, it had such potential, and then it went there, and I'm like, motherfuck.
Yeah, no, I literally exactly everything you just said. It is one of those where, it started off strong. I liked this sort of face off. I liked this kind of like back and forth, like, well, actually this, and a little bit of campy, but still it was fun enough there to kind of drive you and keep you in. And then it kind of felt like a scary movie insert happened the rest of this thing. It became super spoofy. And it overstayed its welcome. Like the homoerotic part, it was just like, okay, cool. We got the joke within the first like couple minutes of you being like, I summoned him 19 more times, and it's like, all right, cool, we could have ended there. And then it went on and on and on. I was like, okay, dude, like I totally like, we can move on from this. I get it.
Beating a dead horse with a wooden dildo.
I'm leaving.
It was too much.
It truly was. And yeah, I liked that. Like I said, I liked the setup. I liked the one by one and like the sort of like revelation that he was making and how he got there. And then suddenly it just really like, it did not stick that landing at all. And it felt so out of place. And if it was earlier on in the movie, I would have kept watching because we would have been doing this podcast. But on my own accord, it totally would have been like, yeah, no, this is not for me, man. I don't, yeah.
Honestly, given what we see at the end, chapter 6 with San La Muerte, I would have preferred if they flip-flopped it. If it was Nahuales and then San La Muerte, right? Because then we have that mythological tie together. You have Mother Earth, and then you go into San La Muerte. Like, that would have made more sense. But going from Nahuales, which is this like amazing section, to Wooden Demon Dick, to San La Muerte, it's like, wow. You could have, like, it could have been so much stronger if it just had those two together.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, right? Like, because San La Muerte is it's the finale. This is the ending of the movie. And so I feel like by ending it the way they did with Hammer of Zanzibar, which I love that they were like, we're not going to reveal this title until we show the dick. It's like, okay, sure, whatever.
Hammer Dick.
Hammer dick. It's hammer time. Because they came off of such a, I'll say, farcical ending, it lessened the impact of the ending of the movie itself. Or like going into it, like to have to rev a viewer up from all the way here back all the way up to like the heightened stakes that were supposed to be set up for the arrival of death and this sort of like showdown and escape and wondering. It's like they made it a lot harder on themselves to get us back there. Oh my god, no.
So hard.
Okay,
Definitely
but here's
nailed it.
also here's where I was also disappointed is that you had the Nahuales, which is the Mesoamerican, right, influence. You had in the Hammer of Zanzibar, they had it right there at the beginning. They started it with, we witnessed a Cuban deity ritual. So you're already introducing another set of, and he went through the names of these deities so quickly. And we land on the final one, the Zombie King, and that's what's emphasized. But it's like you had the makings there to keep that ritual aspect going. These ancient gods, these are these Cuban deities possessing them. And it's like, God damn it, your story was right there. Why? Why did you have to go demon dick?
I was reading some just reviews because I just like to read reviews on what people think about these kinds of films. And yeah, that was the big thing, is a lot of people are like, the tone, right? The tone shifts from story to story, and it just that's where you lose people, right? And some anthologies succeed and some of them fail because of, one or two bad eggs in there.
Yeah.
Chapter 6, San la Muerte.
And chapter 6, kind of wrapping it up.
I fucking loved San la Muerte. Like the artistic design of San la Muerte. My mind was blown. Okay, him entering the police station and having the ability to possess these people and just full on massacre without touching anybody. I'm like, yes, this is like a fucking deity or whatever it is, death. But like it was, I shouldn't have been, but I was very much cheering for San La Muerte because let's be real, the traveler cheated him. He made a deal to save the traveler's family, and the traveler's like, changed my mind, I don't want to die, and took off. And so it's like, you made that deal, man. Death is always at your door because you made that deal. But you have San La Muerte enter the building, literally. And he comes in this black hat and this black coat. And he's got this like face that's etched with these deep lines. And at first, like, I thought that was just his face, right? And I'm like, man, the design on this, like, I can't tell if it's sexy or scary, but I like it. And you guys know me, I'm fucked, whatever. But like, amazing the way he came in. And then they're shooting him and they're shooting his face, they're shooting his chest, and as they're shooting him, we realize it's a mask that he's wearing. And like as it's being shot off and his coat's coming off, you realize, oh, that's what you are. And you get to see the full fucking deity that he is. And I'm just like, I was floored because when you think phase 1 is amazing, then you see phase 2 and you're like, God damn, this is so cool. Like I was here for that specific character and I was excited about it. Like I think I was ready to just like give him his own movie. Like this just needs, San La Muerte needs his own movie because that character is so cool. And I don't know, I'm gonna tone it down, but I'm just saying, like, there's nothing exciting. There's nothing more exciting than when you see something like this is an ancient god, clearly. This is an ancient, Mesoamerican god. And he is here and there is nothing you can do. You cannot fuck with him. And I don't know. I loved it. Loved it.
Yeah, it was. I mean, exactly what you said. It's one of the times where you are presented with a deity, and you can get a sense of what it is that the culture that reveres it feels towards seeing this. Like you see this and you're like, yep, nope, I understand exactly why. Like you felt that sort of sense of power, that sense of, yeah, I am the very thing that you call me. I am San La Muerte, you know, like the costume design, the everything about the appearance, it carried the weight of the character that it was. And yeah, no, it was fun, you know. It's especially coming off of coming off of that, being brought back into, yes, here we are, like
Here we are. We're back
we're
in.
back in it, we're back in this saddle.
Thank you for yo-yoing me back to this, because this is what I've been wanting.
You had me worried there for a second.
That was just phenomenal. Like in the scene, like the scene with the traveler, like coming through the door, bringing the gun up and shooting at him. Like just that slow, I wouldn't even say slow-mo, but just slowed down, tiny kind of slowed down motion of that between them. I'm like, whew, this is phenomenal. And I do love, I fucking love when an anthology movie like goes right back to the beginning. And so at the beginning, he tells them, I have 90 minutes or else everyone's gonna die, right? Because he knows what's coming after him. And when he shoots San La Muerte, he says, you know, he'll be back. He always comes back. So that tells you he's had a showdown with him many times. Hopefully this time he takes the gun with him, right? And he can find more of those bullets. But he's like, yeah, he always comes back. And he gets pulled over and the cop's just like, you know, he's gonna take a minute. He's like, okay, but I only have 90 minutes and then we're all gonna die. And it's like, I love it. Because now you know what's coming.
Yeah, no, it's always fun when you see sort of the recursiveness come back in this sort of movie, where it's like, and you know exactly what's about to happen again.
I love me a good full circle. And I could honestly watch an entire movie of the Traveler chapter. I could watch an entire movie of También Lo Vi and Nahuales. El Vampiro can stay short. Hammer of Zanzibar, I think, should go by the way of San La Muerte. And yeah, but overall, I know this film got a lot of like Rotten Tomatoes and it got a lot of critiques for it. But overall, I would watch it again. I just might skip through Hammer of Zanzibar, but I would absolutely watch it again for those chapters that I feel could be their own standalone movie.
Yeah, no, I agree. I would totally skip, or in the very least, if I'm in a hotel, I would change channels and then come back. Like I'd time it for like 15 minutes and come back or something.
Come back later.
But yeah, no, I think overall it is fun, and it is especially fun to see, you know, Latin American, Hispanic, like just seeing folks that normally don't get a sort of spotlight being given the opportunity to tell their stories, whether or not, you know, they were too rompy or whatever. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it was still a highlight of, you know, culture, and I thoroughly enjoyed that.
If nothing else, it is definitely, like you said, it's a peek into other cultures, like especially like the Nahuales one. Like, definitely put your subtitles on because there's a lot more Spanish in that one. But if you don't know Spanish, but I do like that each one of the Nahual characters, while they're shapeshifters, they do represent, and she says it, that they represent an animal spirit guide. And each one of them is named after an animal. So you have Oso, which is the bear, Perro, the dog, Lobo, the wolf, and Bujo, the owl. And it's like they're all representing different spiritual animals, right? And I love that so much. I'm such a dork when it comes to that stuff. I'm a nerd.
You're in good company here.
One of my favorite lines, and I don't know why it is, but he's like, "You want to know about fucking Malcolm?" And I'm like, "Yes, I want to know about fucking Malcolm. Let's go."
I love it. It's a fun film. Overall, like minus like for me, minus the humor of Zanzibar, like it was overall to be a very solid film, and I would absolutely watch it again.
Yeah. Silver Bullet. What can I say about Silver Bullet? Holy jumped up bald headed Jesus Palomino.
Love it.
Gary Busey was an unexpected but very, very pleasant element of chaos in this werewolf feature. I really, really enjoyed the film. I thought that it had a really, really nice combination of both like it being like a creature feature with the reverend and the wolf, the werewolf and everything, but also like it just being a story about family and this sort of relationship between the brother and the sister, and it got more real than I expected it to get in the beginning, where the narration, the sister comes on and she's just like, Marty, what was his name? Marty, right?
Yeah,
It's like, Marty is my cross to bear, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, we're going there immediately. Showing that, like, yeah, we're about to talk about things that we probably don't normally talk about in this society, which is disabilities, and how it affects those with a disability, but also those living with those with the disability, and seeing the relationship between the sister and feeling, sort of left behind in the family and neglected, or just, the thought of secondhand compared to her brother, because he is he's paralyzed from the waist down. I thought it was like they had such a phenomenal chemistry. Like, it legitimately felt like they were brother and sister, and I absolutely loved both of them. I think it was some of the most realistic pairings I have seen in a movie, especially from child actors. Where it's like, holy shit, like, you guys, you killed it. The fantastical elements I thought were equal parts awesome and funny. Because it's like seeing the costume changes and a couple of the killings, especially like the one who's gonna commit suicide by taking pills.
Oh, yeah.
And then the werewolf like coming in and like just like gashing her, and I was like, I expected a half off screen, like we're just gonna like see the shadow or something. It's like, no, you're gonna sit down through this real quick. And so I thought some of those deaths were so visceral, and the fucking death of the kid, and the smiley face kite, only to be immediately juxtaposed with the bloody kite over the smiley face. And I'm glad they didn't show anything there, because that would have been just heart-wrenching. But
In the 80s, they couldn't, like, it wasn't as, they didn't go there. I
Right.
feel like horror didn't get that mean to fuck with kids until recently.
right,
Like, to really show, like, violence towards kids.
yeah. But yeah, no, it was great. I think, everybody did exceptionally well. I thought some the werewolf using the bat several times to just
Man, that made the movie for me. Like, for me, I'm like, werewolves, they shred people apart, they bite them, but it felt even more brutal than it using a bat to like just pummel people.
It's probably a limited budget.
I had read a small like YouTube comment. I forget if it was like on a review thing or if it was on the movie itself when I watched it, but it was just like, the Reverend tried to get rid of the bat, but the werewolf fetched it back, which is why he still held on to it.
God.
I love it. That's great.
Oh man, but yeah, no, like I did thoroughly enjoy it more than I thought I would. And with Gary Busey especially, like, you can tell that man like improvised half of his stuff, or like ad-libbed half of his things. But like it worked. It was all so charming and endearing, and yeah.
One thing I will say about Gary Busey is that it was almost a role for John Candy. So John Candy almost played the role of that character in that movie. So
It wouldn't have been the same.
no, but I
No,
mean,
I
it's
love
still,
John
I think
Candy,
it
but
still would
no.
have worked, but it's hard to see, John Candy in like a horror film, right?
I mean, I see him as Uncle Buck being transitioned
Yeah,
into this
exactly.
film, and it's not the same. Because Uncle Buck, or I'm sorry, Uncle, what is it, Red?
Yes, Uncle Red.
So Uncle Red is a drunk, but that's part of the, like you said, Nazeeh, the reality of family dynamics, right? Like the tension between Red and his own sister, because he is a drunk and because he doesn't have stable relationships, and yet he's got this endearing closeness with Marty. And he's got this closeness with his niece and nephew to the point where he is their safe person. When shit pops off, they don't go to their parents, they go to Uncle Red. And they tell him the truth of everything that's going on. And yeah, I don't know. I thought that was interesting because no family relationship is that cut and dry, right? Like that was very real in the context of reality in movies and the fact that life is like that. No one person is inherently good or inherently bad. Uncle Red has these qualities that are frustrating. He's irresponsible, he's emotionally probably not mature, and he's an alcoholic. And yet, he is one of the safe figures for these kids. He listens to them. He takes the time to really connect with them and to connect with Marty. Marty isn't a responsibility or burden to him or a thing to just carry around, right? They're constantly just like carrying him everywhere. And instead, Red's like, let me empower you. Let me give you this motorcycle. By the way,
Yeah.
don't tell your mom how fast that thing goes. And let me give you fireworks. And he is the only person in this movie that doesn't treat him like an invalid.
And I think for me, like the tension was more they're trying to convince him. He's like, no, like no, believe me, this is a werewolf. This is a real thing. And just that Gary Busey, you just want him to be like, yes, just believe him, believe him. You love your nephew, like you love him, like just believe him. And like through, he's just kept saying, no, this is ridiculous. Like you guys are ridiculous. I love you, but you're crazy. And it's just until he actually sees it, at that point you're just like, okay, I guess you're right.
However, even when he doesn't believe them, he still goes out on like leaps of faith with them. He goes out on the limb because when he sees that the silver bullet has been hit, clearly part of the story has to be true because someone has hit Marty. And what does he do? He goes to the police. And when the police are like, do you believe this? What does he say? Let's just say, I think you should at least have a conversation with the Reverend. Like he's still willing to put himself out there for these kids, even if he doesn't fully believe them. He doesn't believe them about the werewolf, but what does he do? He takes their jewelry to go get a silver bullet made. And he's like, this is fucking crazy, but here we go. And he goes and like, he pays his own money to send the parents out of town so that he can stay with the kids on the night of the full moon. He doesn't believe in a werewolf, but he's like, all right, well, I guess we're doing this. So, like, as much as he doesn't believe them, he still goes out on a limb for them.
Yeah. He is, like you said, he is sort of this safe figure for them. And the fact that like I liked that the movie painted him as caring and as somebody who could be relied on to a degree, despite fully villainizing him for being an alcoholic. Because it's like that's just it, It's just like not every person who is an alcoholic or goes through some form of addiction is irredeemable or anything. It's like it's not black and white. There is gray, and I think Uncle Red is a depiction of that. Like, yeah, like he's got his issues, but he is a damn good uncle, caring, and at the end of the day, while he may not be the best toward spouses, he he at least does have a heart and will put himself out there for these kids.
Yeah, I think it's a good commentary. I don't know whether it was intentional or not. I think it's a really good commentary on the idea that an alcoholic or an addict are not inherently evil people, right? They're just people that have coping mechanisms that maybe isn't healthy, isn't the best choice. But not all of them are evil, right? Like people they hear alcoholic or they hear drunk and they're like, they're bad, they're evil, and it's like, there's a reason he's drinking. We don't know what it is, but there is a reason. And despite that issue, he's still very caring and showing up for his family when they need him. And he goes out on a limb for these kids, even when their story sounds crazy to him. So, not such a bad guy. Put down the bottle, Red. We love you.
His character is very much like Charlie, or not, yeah, Charlie in Critters, right? Like he's the town drunk that works on the farm and has, he cares, but he has his problems. He spends the night in jail all the time and nobody believes him. That's the thing with him, is nobody believes him about the aliens and all that, but he's still trying to help everybody out. So and I love that with Gary, like in this movie. One last thing about this movie that I wanted to mention is the church scene, the werewolves, right? The dream sequence, like that was so fun. That there's like 70 extras that were turned into werewolves in this dream sequence in the middle of the church. Like that's something like I've never seen before, that I was like, ooh, that's pretty cool. I mean, obviously, it's a dream sequence, or at least you're like, wow, this took a turn quick. But
Right.
but it was fun. I love that part of it.
It was foreshadowing like a motherfucker, because when he wakes up from that dream, he says, "Dear God, please make it stop." Although, I will say this. The lycanthropy that the Reverend has, we don't really know when, why, how, but we know that it is, right? And one might argue that he is a victim of his inner beast of this lycanthropy, so he can't help what he's doing. And so any of these murders, when he's the werewolf and as they approach the moon, it gets more intense, are not necessarily his fault per se, the Reverend's fault. It would be the werewolf, possibly. However, I absolutely think the Reverend is evil because he has reasoning for why he did what he did, right? And he actively goes to kill Marty as a human. He corners him on the bridge and he says, well, she was going to kill herself anyway, so I had to save her soul. I was doing this for the greater good, you see. And I'm sorry, your death is going to be an accident. I'm going to have to like drown you. And it's like, whoa, that's not the werewolf. You're just an evil fucking man.
Well, he tries to run him off the road too, right? Like,
Yeah, he's just evil. I do love Red's response when he finds out they've been sending him letters through the mail telling him to kill himself. And he's like, you've done what?
It's funny because like I ended up like writing a note like right when that happened. I was like, damn, Marty's toxic as fuck.
They had a good point. They're like, yeah, I understand that's bad, but why hasn't he reported them? And it's like, oh yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah.
But that is toxic as fuck. Very like future serial killer behavior. Cutting out the letters of the magazines. It's like, oh my gosh. Marty, I don't know about you.
Yeah.
I do feel badly that his girlfriend like got ran out of town early. I'm like,
yeah.
he had a girlfriend and everything. His best friend gets killed. His girlfriend gets run out. Man, this is not a good week for Marty.
It ain't easy for the silver bullet.
All right. So that brings us to the ultimate horror movie in the lineup that we have this evening. And that is Silence of the Lambs.
Absolute perfection. The end. All right.
Yeah, good talk, guys. Way to go.
Oh man. Like there is, I mean, it is just a masterclass in everything, in tension building, in horror, in analyzing the human psyche, in socio commentary, in cinematography, in sound design, like every little thing. It is absolutely just like following the journey of Clarice, and this kind of just I feel like this rat's maze of a movie, whether it's her trying to climb her career, but also like really getting herself enveloped in this case and learning more about these serial killers and whatnot, and kind of getting more firsthand experience and realizing like what it means to truly be on the field and in this job, analyzing and seeing firsthand, these various killings and these, like just how brutal serial killers are and can be, man, I don't even know where to really pinpoint, because there's just so much in terms of the symbolism of the lambs throughout, and the sort of innocence, whether it be the innocence of the victims, the innocence of Clarice losing said innocence, the screaming that she hears of the lambs kind of tying back to her own childhood, and equating that with the current case, and wanting to save not only the current victim, but future potential victims as well, and kind of putting an end to a rampage. um Hannibal, it's funny, like I've seen so many things being like, oh, and he only had 15 minutes of screen time. I'm like, uh number one, I feel like he had a perfect amount of screen time.
Yes.
And he expanded every single fucking one.
And it is just absolute masterclass. Anthony Hopkins, like, bringing such a tour de force on this, and really making you feel like, hey, Anthony, I feel like you did this a little too well. What have you got in your closet, brother? Like,
I can see that.
the constant callbacks and ties. Like, this is a movie that I do want to rewatch, and I would rewatch not only just for analysis, but in terms of enjoyability, because there's so many little things. It's like every time Hannibal Lecter speaks, there's always a clue, whether it be in the drawings of his cell, whether it be in the words that he says. There's always something. Like, everything he does with purpose. And the fact that Clarice catches on to this, and it's just like, wait, no, that's a fake name, that's an anagram, that's this. I'm clued into the ways of how he's working. And it's like, it makes me wonder, like, what else did he say that I missed on the first watch, even that even further, like, pointed to finding Buffalo Bill, and kind of getting closer to the end of the case. And all of this also, like, I haven't even mentioned Buffalo Bill, and I forget the actor's name.
Ted Levine.
Yes. Spectacular job, absolutely phenomenal, putting us into the feel of somebody who is this sort of psychopath, but like, it's like every scene is just so unnerving, and you kind of get put into their own headspace to a degree where it's just like I understand your want for your self-actualization, but Jesus fuck, like, the means of doing so, in which you're trying to create a skin suit and transform yourself into a woman because you believe that this is like, it's every scene is just so masterfully done. The suspense on all fronts. The ending, or toward the ending, when you have the juxtaposed FBI raid mixed with Clarice just following a hunch and following leads and going to, and then realizing, oh, the raid is actually at the wrong house. They were misled, by Lecter, and they got the wrong place, and having that switch up, being like, oh no, she's the one who's there and she's alone. And it's yeah, no, I absolutely love this film. And every scene has so much detail in it and so many callbacks.
It's interesting that a lot of people thought that his attachment to Clarice was because she's kind of this innocent lamb herself. But really, I think it's, to your point, it's because she's the only one that truly did understand how his mind worked. And so it was like that connection of someone who gets me. And it's not like a romantic, is there, yes, like a tension between them, that he has this draw to her, no doubt. But it's not like this romanticized, we're in love, we're soulmates. It's just a disturbing connection, right? It's a
Yeah.
disconcerting connection. And yeah, I think it was just everything about him is definitely, it stills the show, right? Like, this entire movie is Hannibal Lecter. And don't get me wrong, Jodie Foster is fucking phenomenal, but Hannibal is just I don't even know. Like you said, there's a reason he teaches master classes, because just what he's able to do and evoke from characters and that presence that he puts out in a film is just holy cow. But Buffalo Bill also, you needed that juxtaposition. You have this calculated, beyond brilliant psychopath, and then you've got this whimsical, if you will, serial killer who's like, I'd fuck me hard. And he's like dancing around, and it's just like, it works to have the juxtaposition of those two killers. And then you have Clarice, who has no idea how to navigate this.
No, it's great. And one of my favorite lines is when Lecter gets away and her friend, Clarice's friend, is like, aren't you worried? And she's like, no, he's not coming after me. Like he would consider that like rude. Like he's not trying to mess with me that way. Like it was a confidence that she showed towards the end that you're just like, wow, she really gets it. And it's not a fear thing, it's a respect thing, it's a connection that they have that you guys already talked about, that almost like you're like happy, you're like, oh man, she really, like, she owns it, and she knows, and she's more powerful from it all, right? Like because she grew, like, there's that scene at the beginning, she's going through the academy, she's one of the only women, and there's just in the elevators there's all these big guys or whatever, but she is the one that saves the day.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's that established respect, which he very clearly doesn't get throughout the entire, or you get the sense that nobody who has tried to talk to Lecter has approached him with any sort of reverence or respect or anything. Meanwhile, it's like Clarice from the very get-go, I think every interaction she calls him doctor. She never drops that. She keeps up, and he doesn't necessarily feel like he's found someone who's matched wits, but he's found someone with potential, somebody who isn't just a rube in his eyes. And yeah, just it all, like, that relationship and everything. It's beautiful.
The symbolism of their relationship is in and of itself the entire thing, right? In order for her to catch Buffalo Bill, she has to make a deal with the devil. So what are like the terms of his negotiation for helping her? It's this idea where I believe it, okay, I may misquote it, but the entire condition of him helping her is the idea that, okay, I'm going to help you, but I'm going to ask you questions about yourself, and you have to answer them honestly. And if I feel like you're not telling me the truth and the full truth, you get nothing from me. So he wants to know her in her most vulnerable space, her most intimate, exposed space, and not in a physical way. He just wants to know her in probably the most traumatizing space, right? Ultimately, that's what could break her. If he learns enough, he could absolutely break her from the inside out, just knowing her psychological trauma. And so for him, that's the exciting part, right? Like, I want to know how you work. I want to know your vulnerabilities. I want to know how to break you.
Well, that, and he even calls her out on it when she's like, "Well, if you just fill this out," like she tries to like turn it into this thing. It's like, "Well, why don't you just fill this out, or do this case, and we'll help you out." He's like, "No, no, 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 that won't do. This is not what we're doing. Like, you try harder. Like, meet me on my level for a minute, right?" Like when she first meets him, and she, I think at that moment she knows, she's like, okay, like, I can't just bullshit my way through this. Like, I have to be real with him. That's the only way that I'm going to get through to him, because nobody else will do it. And then it happens.
I fucking love this movie.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people debate if it's a horror, but I absolutely believe it's a horror. So
Yeah.
we ended with a classic. We ended with an icon, Hannibal and Agent Starling. We appreciate you, Nazeeh, diving into the world of movies, starting with the letter S.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, do you have anything you want to shout out to?
Anybody listening because of me, be sure to check out 3Haunted podcast, where they have a plethora of episodes regarding several topics. And for anyone listening through 3Haunted Podcast, newly learning about me, I'm a voice actor who has worked on a number of things. If you happen to be interested in anime, be sure to check out Kaiju number 8. But yeah, no, that's about it for me.
I'm so glad that you came on. I hope you had fun watching these movies. I hope you had fun talking to us about the movies.
I did.
Loved that you dressed up. Loved having Samara on just in time for Halloween.
Of course. Only for y'all. I will always show up and show out.
Like, we can keep talking. Like, I love that about our conversations. Like, we deep dive into these great films, and I think from a new perspective, I think it adds so much. And I think people who are new to the podcast or just new to horror in general, like, it's fun. It's a fun way for people to join in. And honestly, I would say watch these movies first, because obviously there's, spoiler alert, a lot of things that are, said about the ending and everything, and then see what you feel. Like, come to the podcast, listen to it, and see if you agree. If not, let us know.
Yeah, don't let us tell you what's great. You decide what's great to you.
Yeah, some of you might like Suspiria.
All right. BJ Segura, do you want to bring us home?
Absolutely. Again, thank you for joining us today. Nazeeh, you are amazing. We love that you are on with us for all the times that you come on, and we hope to have you on more often to just talk horror or anything you want to talk about. And I just want to say thank you for tuning in to this episode of 300 Podcast with your hosts. I'm BJ Segura.
I am Ashley Lunar Goddess.
I'm John Thomas.
And if you have any questions, comments, or episode suggestions, please feel free to email us at 300podcast@gmail.com. If you haven't done so already, please like, follow, and subscribe to our social media. You don't want to miss our amazing guests, like Nazeeh.
Also, don't forget to check out 300podcast.com, where you can find all of our past and current season episodes, as well as guest information and all kinds of awesome 3Haunted merch.
Until next time.
Hey!
Yay! I love that.